Well, we continue to follow up on the devastating Lily mine accident that killed 3 people in February 2016. Residents in the town of Barberton in Mpumalanga are struggling to survive after the mine was closed down. About 900 workers were retrenched. eNCA reporter Govan Whittles joins me now from Lily mine in Barberton. Now, Govan, we were talking only yesterday about the fact that the people who look set to take over the mine have no hope that the bodies of the miners who were trapped underground will ever be recovered. And today we are talking about how that community has been coping with massive retrenchments.
Yeah, that's right, Bravuyo. Yesterday we spoke about how the company that's taking over SSC says that they'll basically have to find out from scratch whether or not it would be possible to retrieve that container. Today I spent a lot of time with the community members and the overwhelming feeling here is a feeling of desperation for some sort of income. Remember, most of these people relied on the mine for their primary source of income. There's about 6,000 people that live in the community of Louisville, and among them, say about half relied on the mine either through direct employment or indirect through a family member who was working at the mine. And basically, since the mine closed 3 years ago, the jobs have dried up in this area. In the immediate aftermath of the collapse and the closure of Lily mine, the then Mpumalanga Premier David Mabuza actually stepped in and started an initiative that's led to a road currently being constructed and started building a few RDP houses. But as you know, those contracts usually last about 3 months, and so since then these former mine workers have been working on the road trying to earn some sort of living. But there's also an overwhelming feeling of frustration, Vuyo, and that's also because they're not certain when this mine will reopen. We reported yesterday that SSC says they're on the brink of closing the deal and they want to open as early as the first quarter in next year. But remember, the community of Louisville and Barberton Lily mine have really been sold a number of promises over these last 3 years. There have been up to 5 deals that have collapsed. I spoke to a former Lily mine employee, Mr. Sizwe Mabasa, and he used to work in the HR department at the mine. He voiced some of the frustration that the community is feeling, particularly because they lodged the land claim for the area where the mine is, so they believe that they're entitled to some sort of profit that comes from the mine. Let's have a look at what Mr. Mabasa said.
Claimed this land. This land belongs to us. One day it will come to these people. This land, this valley, this Louisville area belongs to this community of this place. So this mine belongs to these people. It doesn't belong to one individual that will just do and say whatever he wants and say, I've got papers, end. As the community of this place, we will not allow that.
And you're saying it has to open?
It has to open. We need this mine to be open. We need somebody to put money on the table. If that person puts money on the table, not promises. You know, here we're living in small informal structures, the Mkukus. The lies that have been told to us that Mkuku now is full. We cannot accommodate now this any longer.
Just for clarity, Govan, is the community saying that as a precondition to reopening the mine, the company will have to recognize the fact that they too have a claim to the land and must therefore compensate them accordingly? Or are they just reminding the new owners that, by the way, we do also have a claim to this land?
Well, it's not even a precondition, Bravuyo. It's actually something that the SEC company has actively been negotiating with the community. So the SEC company is not only a black-owned company, but it is a company that's extended a partial ownership of this mine to the community and the workers. So they would definitely get a share of the company once the sale has gone through from Vantage Goldfields. But we do know that the community are asking for a lot more than that. They don't only want to own the company, they also want the new owners to build clinics, hospitals, and other such service, and provide other services which they say was lacking during the 22 years when Lily mine was operational in this area. So the community is essentially saying that whatever happens next to Lily mine, they want the jobs back, but they also want to be involved when it comes to the sharing of the pie at the end of the day.
Now, we know that 900 workers were retrenched here, Govan, but whenever new people take over, they rarely, if ever, take on the full complement when they reopen, or sometimes if they do, soon after taking over, they retrench the rest. Do we know what the situation is going to be with the new owners, or where they stand on whether or not they will take over the full, all 900 people?
Well, Vuyo, Lily Mine is a unique situation where it didn't close because they ran out of ore body, ran out of gold, so to say. They closed because of the collapse that happened. So the mine's extended forecast in terms of how long it could still produce gold goes up to 2030. And I recently spoke to the CEO of SSC, Mr. Fred Aronso, who told me that they had in fact found huge deposits of gold underneath some of the tailings dams. So that opened up a great potential for all 900 of these workers to be rehired. Remember that not only Lily Mine closed, also its sister mine Barberton. That's where the Vantage Goldfields did some of its smaller operations and had its plants. And in the meantime, after Lily Mine closed, some of the workers were taken to Barberton. Eventually, they were also retrenched. But as things stand, if we go by the word of SSE, it seems as if there's enough gold underground at Lily Mine to employ all 900 of these workers. And as things stand, he has not spoken about any retrenchments taking place, if they are, of course, able to successfully reopen the mine in the first quarter of next year.
Govan, that's where we're going to leave it for now. Govan Whittles, of course, in Barberton, Mpumalanga, where he is speaking to the community there who have been affected by the retrenchment of the 900 workers. And as Govan was saying, it's not only the 900 workers who have been affected, because almost the entire community there depend on the spin-offs, of course, that fall from the employment of those 900 workers who have to dig the gold there. Well,